Welcome to Locality's Making Bank podcast, where we continue our exploration of South Florida's entrepreneurial landscape with host Keith Costello, co-founder and CEO of Locality Bank. Sit back, relax, and let South Florida visionaries guide you on an entrepreneurial journey from tribulation to triumph, sharing the very stories that have shaped them.
Nick Wucher, welcome to Locality Bank's Making Bank podcast.
Appreciate you having me on, Keith.
Absolutely. So, Nick, we're just talking, is the youngest entrepreneur we've had on yet. So, and I'm actually 50 years older than him. So that I was like, wow, I'm really old. And so Nick is friends with my daughter, Hallie. Yeah, they're both Florida State alumni. And she was telling me, she's like, why don't you have this guy on who's like representing the youthful entrepreneurs? I'm like, that's a great idea. So I said, come on. And we talked, and that's how Nick is joining us today. So we're going to get started, just really talking about where you're from and how you grew up and kind of your background story.
Okay, so I grew up in Weston, specifically Bonaventure.
Okay.
My entrepreneurial side came from my mother. She started an interior design company right after my parents divorced when I was like 5. So she really started from the ground up. Humble beginnings at first, but she's become one of the top, I would say, but I'm biased, one of the top interior designers in South Florida. She basically had us working for her since we were about 6 or 7 years old.
So who's we? You have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have a little brother.
Older brother?
Little brother.
Oh, little brother. I'm sorry.
Little brother. So she had us passing out her business card to people, going out door to door, basically just dropping business cards in each of them, soliciting at a young age.
Wow.
But yeah, we would help her with installations. That was basically our daycare, if you will.
So you learned entrepreneurial life early.
Very
right?
early.
With and growing up with a single mom, it's interesting. Like a lot of entrepreneurial stories start that way, and it creates I think in a lot of entrepreneurs a sense of it drives them to be successful. So I've noticed that's a commonality.
Yep.
So you're working with your mother. You're absolutely learning about entrepreneurship, and then you go on to college.
Yes. So I go to Florida State, and I guess to give a little bit of background on YIFNO,
Sure.
My roommate and I started it. So he would go outside and just film him saying, am I allowed to say the phrase? Am I allowed to curse?
Yes.
The phrase, it is an acronym, and it stands for, yo, it's fucking nice out. So he would go outside and he would say this on Snapchat. And then one day I just looked at him and said, we should put that on a shirt, an acronym, YIFNO. We didn't really know how to pronounce it yet. And then someone that we know had said it. We're like, yeah, that's how you pronounce it. And then we started pushing our first t-shirts, forgot about it. And then COVID hits. So we're at home, and we decided to do a couple online drops because it's so accessible with Shopify and everything. And we were sitting at home doing basically nothing because the schools weren't open or anything like that. And we sell out on our first couple drops. And then from there, started taking it seriously and took it back to Florida State, did a couple pop-ups, and then brought it down to South Florida after I graduated.
Oh, that's incredible. So you just while you're in college, you had this idea, basically came up with this phrase, which, I'm sporting a little YIFNO merch today, and decided, hey, this is something that I could take and create a business from.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you studying in school at the time?
So I changed my major 3 times.
Okay.
First, I thought I wanted to do finance because that was where the money was at. And I had some friends that were in finance. And then didn't do too hot in that. So then I switched to econ and then realized I just don't like numbers in general.
Okay.
And then I went to international affairs. but I always just knew I was going to do something in sales. So came out of college, got a sales job, and then obviously continued with the brand as well.
So you ended up getting a job. So you graduate from college and you decide, hey, need a regular job while you're pursuing this, really a kind of a side gig at the beginning, right?
Of course.
And so you end up, so what do you do for your day job?
I'm in logistics.
Okay.
So I'm a freight broker. I'll handle middleman between companies that need products moved and the carriers. So steamship lines, trucks, literally anything.
And so you're in sales with them?
Yeah, I'm in sales.
Primarily. So, and they know about YIFNO?
They do.
And they're okay with that?
They do. They are. So I told them during the interview that I had YIFNO, and I knew that my first year I had to set myself up with that job. Like my goal was to go in, set myself up financially so I could, have less stress when it came to the brand. And then I'm blessed enough to have done pretty well pretty early. And I work honestly more on YIFNO because it's an 8 to 5, but I'm up till middle of the night, late night, just working on that. 'Cause I love it, obviously.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're obviously doing well at your day job because otherwise you wouldn't probably have a job, right?
Yeah.
So you're working a regular day job and you've started this on the side. So that's really impressive. And that's kind of a path, I think, that for a lot of people, they have maybe the entrepreneurial itch. They want to start something, but it's a big risk to just go out and say, I'm going to, go on my own and start my own business, unless you've just got money to back you or whatever. But I think this is really interesting that, so how long has YIFNO been in existence now?
5 years, but 3 years of taking it seriously. Going on our 4th year now, taking it serious.
So a couple of years in college.
Yeah. So 1 year in college.
Okay.
Where it was started in 2019, and that's when we did that one release online.
Yeah.
Second year, COVID hits. We start taking it seriously, and then we come back for school in 2020. And when I did my first pop-up, it was in Tallahassee. A friend of mine was originally supposed to open a vintage shop. And he said I can have a section in the store. I told a bunch of people about it, gave them the date, and he ends up not opening up the store in time. So I had already told all these people that we were going to have a pop-up. So I decided to do it on the balcony of my apartment. And I set up clothing racks, set up a table, and literally 115 kids, I think, showed up, like just open door policy, came to the balcony.
And bought stuff.
Yeah, was collecting money through Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, Cash, and just figuring it out from there and writing everything on a piece of paper.
So there might be some other old people like me who are like, what's a pop-up? So why don't you explain what a pop-up is? Okay,
so pop-up shop is basically a short-term store that you have. So I'll go in to an event space or a storefront. We'll rent it out. We'll set up for a day or two. We'll have more of an interactive style just because we like to mix all the arts in it. But you're basically just selling your product there for a short period of time. Kind of builds a hype and exclusivity. So people know to go there. They can only get the product there at that time, or you sell it for a short period of time. But the pop-up method that we do is we like to have local DJs go in and perform. Like when we had our pop-up in New York, we had local DJs from New York actually perform. People in Miami perform. We were doing pop-ups at bars and clubs as well when we were first starting down here, just because the event space was good. Now, would you do that to not only sell merch, but to promote those venues? Yeah, exactly. So they would love, because you would attract a big crowd to the so bar. We're making them money as well. Yeah. And then we're also getting a cut from the bar. So we're making a deal with the bar. And it depends on where. I mean, obviously, the better the location, the less they're going to need their people to go. But still, if you bring out your crowd, you're good.
So, like I wanted to do a pop-up here today, but unfortunately, Nick just got back from London yesterday. He was low on merch. I was fortunate to even get this. And so we couldn't pull it off, but you up for doing a pop-up here?
I definitely am. I already have ideas flowing for designs.
All right. I am excited about that. So Ryan's pumped too.
Love it.
Yeah. So this would be pretty cool actually to do a pop-up here. So we'll let everybody know, give everybody plenty of notice but definitely. Keep watching, stay tuned to Locality Bank and to YIFNO and for that advance notice on the pop-up.
Yeah, we'll give people something good.
Yeah. So you're doing these pop-ups kind of locally, you're doing them in bars, and so then you get kind of the invite to go outside of this location, right? To go, or you decide to, or how does that happen?
All right. So the first time we were already doing them, like I said, Tallahassee, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. And I remember I took a trip to New York with a couple of my friends, and I was walking around the city, and I've always loved New York. And I looked at one of my buddies and I said, I'm going to throw a pop-up here this summer. And he looked at me like I was crazy because we had a few friends in New York, but not enough to fill out a space. And I just had a gut feeling. And I went on Storefront, which is a website where you can find storefronts for retail space. I talked to a guy named Afrim, negotiated a price with him, and he gave me the storefront in Tribeca. And I basically poured all my money into this. Not a great financial move.
Okay.
But I knew it would work out. I just had a feeling. And we threw the pop-up. I remember I financed a flight on Spirit. That's how broke I was when I did the pop-up. That's how much money I put into it. And it ended up being successful. I was happy if we broke even. Yeah. Because that's just a good footprint to have out there, just because New York is huge for streetwear and fashion.
Right.
And just the arts in general. We threw the pop-up, profited off of it. Great turnout. And then we're going to do another one in New York, hopefully next year.
Okay.
Then for London, I knew I wanted to make a footprint out in London.
How did that happen? From New York to London. How did you tell that story?
So beginning of this year, I was talking to my brother who I brought on board to work on YIFNO with me. But I said, we need to touch down in London because the streetwear scene out there right now is flourishing and it's very young, as opposed to here where it's a little bit older and we've already influenced a lot of people out there. And I hit up one of my friends in London. I reached out to see what artists were up and coming, whether it be underground DJs, some underground rappers as well. And I started liking these posts on Instagram. And one of the posts was a record label called Flat 22. And they reached out to me. They said they recognized YIFNO. How do I hear about these artists and whatnot? I said, hey, let's hop on a call. I get on a call fully thinking I'm going to speak to someone with an English accent. And I answer the phone. He goes, "What's up, bro?" in an American accent. And I was taken back. I was like, I did not expect this. He goes, "No, I went to Florida State. I'm from Sarasota." I was like, "No way." And then as we're talking, I go, "I'll help you throw an event in Miami if you help me throw an event in London." And it just worked out. So we did the event in Miami, had them a part of our 5-year anniversary party in the summer, this past June. And then we just threw one 2 days ago in London on Saturday.
How did that go?
It went really well.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Just the turnout, to even have people show up in another country was cool. And they already have their footprint out there. So the collaboration, obviously key with that. But I'm going to be back for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So how do you gauge when you say, so I guess, how do you gauge success for your events? So it's more than just the monetary thing right now because you're building a brand, right?
Yeah.
So part of it, I guess, would be just the exposure and especially being in another country like that. And then how do you, from a financial standpoint, how do you handle that?
So obviously the exposure is very good. Yeah. Right now, when it comes to events like the London one or even the one in New York, like I mentioned before, breaking even at the event is always good. And there's angles you can take with like selling tickets as well. Selling tickets, getting a split with the bar, or even if you have a storefront, breaking even. I would say the good thing is most of our sales are online. So I know if I don't sell them at the pop-up, I can put them online and sell out there. So then the cost is taken care of.
So you have your own website where you sell your merchandise too?
Yeah, that's where we do a bulk of our sales.
That's where you do the bulk of it.
Yeah.
And the pop-up just helps really to kind of get the word out and build the brand. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
So the biggest part of the pop-up is getting in touch with the community that we have in person.
Okay.
So it's not just online. Like I want to actually meet the people that are buying our product, and people want to meet who they're buying their product from, I think at least. So it builds a trust between us and the community.
I love that, because it's interesting. There's parallels between our business, right? Mm-hmm. So and I think when you talk about COVID and how, COVID changed everything. Everybody wanted to be, have stuff delivered to their house and digital that, nobody wanted to, you couldn't really go to storefronts. And, so for our business, when we launched a digital bank, but we realized too, you've got to have locations, and people, just like you're saying right now, still want to have community. They still want to be able to meet the people. They want to build that trust, especially for us too, with a bank. So it's the same concept.
I think now more than ever, in my opinion, people are looking for the human touch or the human connection. And I know that people say, oh, social media is the biggest thing out today. But at the end of the day, we're humans. So like you want to meet people in person.
Yeah. Like you got to remember why it's called social media, right? Exactly. It's social, which means, interacting with other people. You're doing it online, but the real driver of all that is human connection. So it's interesting because there's a big age gap between us, and you hear things. So you're Gen Z, I guess you would be classified as, right? Like Hallie's Gen Z too. My two youngest kids are Gen Z. And, you hear all these things about, different generations and, how plugged in, because you guys grew up with social media, grew up with phones, yet that, exactly what you're saying about that human connection, I think is so kind of cool and interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're finding that because otherwise you'd just be an online retailer.
Yeah. And I mean, we'd just be in an oversaturated market, which is streetwear and fashion. Everyone's starting a brand every other day. But if you're not focusing on the actual branding, like people are buying t-shirts just to buy the t-shirt. They're buying it for the brand.
Yeah.
So when I meet people in person and you start asking them how their day is or asking them about themselves, you're learning about that person. You're building that trust with them. And then they're also getting to see the lifestyle that you're putting forward. So definitely, I think the pop-up method, and then maybe one day make it brick and mortar. I used to be anti-brick and mortar, but I would like a flagship store one day.
Cool. And where do you think you would do that?
I want to do it in New York.
In New York.
But I would love to do it in Miami just because there's more foot traffic in Miami. But like I would love to do it in Fort Lauderdale as well. I'm from Broward County through and through. But in Miami, it's just a little bit more eyes on the store, I guess.
Yeah. And you think too, I mean, just in terms of fashion, both Miami and New York and London, I guess. If you want to go international, but those are like key locations for the fashion industry too. And, there's just a lot of, you get a lot of exposure there and a lot of access to, people are out looking for, they go to those places to buy clothing and to check out what's cool and what the latest things are. So, this is so really interesting to me because there are, as you said, there's a lot of different brands. There's a lot of different, certainly a lot of different clothing lines. And so you found the way to really, it sounds like, to differentiate is through these pop-ups and these in-person meetings. So what do you think about the pop-up really draws people to show up for those?
I think it's the experience you're getting because, like I said before, we're getting also local DJs to be a part of it, especially if it's collaboration, which I think is the biggest part of starting the brand, aligning with the companies that also have similar values to you, but it's cross audiences. So you're getting a whole different perspective from a different audience. But again, I think it's the experience of going to meet the person behind the brand, going to meet the team, actually touching the clothes and feeling the clothes because they're good quality. We used to print, like, our first t-shirt was, I have it to this day. It's probably the worst t-shirt I've ever seen, but it shows growth as well. So people that have been to our first pop-up and been to our latest one, you see the trajectory, you see the growth of it. So I think that's what people are there for. And again, the human connection, like, they know they're going to meet like-minded people.
So, and do you have to contract out to have like your shirts made and those types of things? And
yeah, so we keep mostly everything in the US.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I have a great print shop over here in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Shout out Atlas Embroidery. And we have very good manufacturers for shirts that are out in LA.
Nice.
And we get them shipped over here. So we'll print on those blanks. And yeah, I mean, we're starting to make more custom pieces, especially for this upcoming collection. It'll be the first time we've done basically full cut and sew, or like 60% cut and sew, which is custom products, and that we outsourced.
So when you say custom products, tell me more about that. What does that look like?
When you get blank t-shirts, you're basically getting a base model of what you want the t-shirt to look like from that manufacturer.
Okay.
When it comes to cut and sew, that's us making let's say we're making a knitted sweater from complete scratch. Like, we chose what type of materials we want. We chose the actual design of it, how the collar fits, how the cuffs fit, everything. Okay. So that's the way we're going now, is more into custom products, just because we'll always have t-shirts, but we want to branch outside of the t-shirts as well and kind of move the needle with the brand.
Yeah. So what is it that the brand, and we know what it stands for, you tell us, and Ryan may have to bleep that out. I don't know what our censorship policy is, but there's not. Okay, good.
I like that.
So what does the brand stand for?
Honestly, one of the mottos we use is go outside. And we mean that figuratively and literally, like, go outside, enjoy a good day, because especially now with, I don't want to sound like that guy, but with all the electronics we have, people are kind of confined to their houses or to their rooms, but also go outside, enjoy good weather, enjoy a good time with friends. And then for figuratively, get outside your comfort zone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't think you can grow without getting uncomfortable. And it's kind of pushing the boundaries on what you're capable of.
Great advice. So have you bootstrapped this thing yourself? Have you ever taken any outside money, or have you just been able to do it on your own?
I haven't taken any outside money.
No. So you've just been doing it. You work your day job and you're pumping money into this on the side. That's
my bank, the day job.
That's incredible. So, and then do you have I guess there's a lot of kind of resources out there, and the gentleman we had on yesterday, Jim Ryan, he's involved in like a lot of startups and tech companies and, venture capital. Have you reached out to any of these kind of sources or for help or anything?
I haven't yet.
You have not? Okay.
No. Maybe in the future.
Yeah.
But right now I have the funding myself to be able to do it myself. But if we were to take on funding, I would like it to be someone in the industry that can also help us grow. like
Okay.
has insight and I can learn from.
Maybe you're on Shark Tank and, Damon or somebody.
Yeah. Until I tell them what the phrase means.
Yeah. No, they'll probably love it. So as I think about, so you haven't needed money. What about, haven't you needed advice? Or where have you gone to get, like, when you have questions about business or mentorship, anything like that? I know you said you really haven't had a mentor, but.
Yeah, I started to think more about it. I mean, I would say my mother would be a mentor. My father too, hard worker, not an entrepreneur, but definitely a lot to learn. But I would also say we have YouTube now. So I will say I study a lot of the people within the industry, like the titans of the streetwear industry, fashion. So like Ronnie Feig of Kith, Ruigi of Rude, Teddy Atlas of Aime Leon Dore, and then also Ralph Lauren.
No, I don't.
So these are
the streetwear people.
These are, I would say, the new versions of Ralph Lauren.
Wow.
Yeah. He started ALD, Aime Leon Dore. They do a bunch of collaborations with New Balance. So and New Balance just had a huge resurgence because of them.
Wow. Yeah. So I was just reading that Giorgio Armani just turned like 90 or something. And that guy, he's still going strong. I mean, Armani is still a cool brand.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that started in with American Gigolo in 1980, before you guys were born. I remember that movie very well. I wanted to go out and get an Armani suit after I saw that, but I couldn't afford one. But to your point, so these people that we know in fashion, everyone, from Armani to, these other designers, Ralph Lauren. So this is kind of where you're going.
Yeah, definitely.
In the future.
That's where I'd like to be. That's the dream. And I mean, if I didn't think it was possible, I wouldn't be doing this. So.
That is so cool. So what are the hardest things I shouldn't say the hardest. What has been the hardest thing, if you were to say one thing that you've encountered in your 5 years with YIFNO in terms of moving forward and making progress?
I would say building a team. So learning to be more hands off and trust other people when it comes to the brand, just for speed purposes. And also, I would love to have built a team 2 years ago. Like if I had my brother on board 2 years ago, my friend Austin Hyduke, who's probably one of the best graphic designers in my opinion in the world, but that's my boy. And we have a girl named Lily that's been on board, and she does a lot of curating. So does this girl Mika. She does styling. So if we were able to build that team quicker, I think that would be my only, I wouldn't say regret, but that was the biggest challenge at first because it's my baby at the end of the day. So being more decisive with people.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And so you have 3 on staff now?
Yeah, we have 3, I would say realistically 4.
Okay.
But we do hire some people outside for some
Contract.
design work.
Yeah. Interesting. So
videographers, photographers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your next, what's your next show or your next pop-up?
Next pop-up isn't planned yet.
Okay.
But we are having a locality pop-up. Yeah. But we're doing a charity basketball tournament that we do.
Great.
This is going to be the second annual one, and that's February 1st. That's going to be in George English Park. We did it at Holiday Park last year.
And this is a YIFNO event?
Yeah, we host it.
Nice.
Yeah. So we partnered with the Boys and Girls Club of Broward County.
Wonderful.
And we named it after my friend that had passed away in 2020. We did it's basketball. So he loved basketball. So we started a charity basketball tournament. And that's where we'll have the clothes displayed, as well as other local businesses that will be sponsoring. They have their own tents as well.
That's great.
Yeah, we had
And
turnout.
can other teams enroll in this tournament?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So how do they do that? What's the website?
So we're going to have a ticket link up in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Where they can either sign up for their team, sign up as a sponsor, or just RSVP to the event. Last year we had about 200 people show up.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we're around, we'll be there for that.
I'd love to have you guys.
We love to support community events. And I don't know if we have any ballers. How about you, Ryan? Maybe Henry. Henry's pretty short, man. Of course, you never underestimate a short guy playing
There's some
basketball.
good competition out there. So come ready to ball.
I'm thinking Lorenzo. He can probably dunk. I think Lorenzo can dunk, man. He's pretty tall.
That'd be good.
So, all right. Well, any other advice that you would have for the aspiring entrepreneurs out there who might be maybe some FSU student or even a high school kid who's thinking, can I do this?
Yeah, I would say 2 things. I'd say don't overthink it. Literally just do it. You waiting is going to take longer than you actually doing the work.
It's great. That is great advice, by the way.
Thank you.
Don't overthink, take action.
100%.
That's awesome.
And then you need to be a little bit delusional. So you're the only person that creates your ceiling, and it's as high as you want it to be. And it's the classic saying of shoot for the moon, land on the stars. So I would say, yeah, you got to be a little bit delusional to think that you're going to make it in any industry.
That is great advice too, because I think, sometimes if you know too much, you almost like talk yourself out of it. You're like, oh, here's a million reasons why this won't work. But if you're a little bit naive, it gives you that ability to just kind of say, all right, you know what? I'm going to do this and believe you can really do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's all it takes is that little extra belief in yourself. So, well, 100%. You've done really an amazing job, and it's very impressive to see somebody who's working that hard. Because also, we hear all these things about, and I think this has gone on since Marcus Aurelius, who I saw you have that book, that, the older generation always thinks like the younger people are not working hard or they're lazy or they're, but you're a great example of somebody who's, working day and night, works a regular job, starting something on the side. So very impressive, to say the least. And we wish you all good luck. And we look forward to having a pop-up together here soon. I'm really excited about that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, you're an inspiration as well, being an entrepreneur and then seeing how far you've gotten. And you don't look your age. You look a lot younger.
Well, thank you, Nick. And I probably look a lot younger wearing this cool shirt. So, that helps. And, and anything we can do or I can do, let me know. We'll be happy to help you succeed in your dream and your goal. I'd love to see you be successful with this.
Thank you. It means a lot. Seriously.
Absolutely. So now we're going to go to the lightning round, where we just ask you a few quick questions. What's your favorite book?
Meditations.
Yeah. So
there's back to Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah. And so are you, so just another aside. So do you believe in Stoicism, or do you follow that Stoic philosophy of Aurelius?
I would say so. I started getting into Stoicism probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been huge for my daily life and as well as business. Just let things fold and unfold and be the person that you are and let it happen. I mean, you can't control everything.
Yeah.
So
have you heard of the book, The Daily Stoic?
I have.
Okay.
I haven't read it yet.
Haven't gotten it yet?
No.
All right. We're going to get that as a parting gift for Nick for being on the show today and for giving me this nice shirt. Yeah. It's by Ryan Holiday. It's like every day of the year, there's a different Stoic quote from all the different, and I still send it out to my kids. Hallie gets it every day, and John.
Yeah, I remember her telling me that.
All the rest of them. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Perfectionism is the killer of progress.
Very good. What about AI? Are you optimistic about it, or does it scare you?
It used to scare me, but if you use it as a tool to simplify your life, not rely on it, but simplify your life. So scheduling, optimizing data, looking into data, like definitely helps a lot. But when it comes to art, I think you can tell what's AI and what isn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. If you could have dinner with anyone living or dead, who would it be?
Ronnie Feig, who I mentioned before, or Kanye West.
Okay. That would be interesting, actually. That would be an interesting one.
Great conversation.
We got to try to get Kanye on the show.
Next guest.
What's your favorite local restaurant?
Anthony's Runway 84 or Greek Islands.
Wow, two great ones. I mean, I love both of those. I kind of like Anthony's better. That's like my favorite spot.
That room, you feel like you're in a mafia movie in that room.
And I love being in a mafia movie, so that's perfect. And obviously you do too. Is there something that you're particularly grateful for today?
Just waking up. I'm grateful for everything, honestly. I'm very spiritual, so I pray in the morning, pray at night, every aspect of my life, even the good, the bad. It's you can't have one without the other, and I'm grateful to notice that.
Oh, that's great. Is there a travel destination? You just came back from London. Is there somewhere else that's really on your mind you want to go?
Japan, for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Tokyo.
Got to have Drew, my co-founder, will be back. His nationality is Japanese, and he's been there quite a few times. So
oh, no way.
He can give you some good advice. Who's someone you admire?
I admire my little brother.
Really?
For sure.
And why is that?
He's got a great head on his shoulders, very driven, smart. He's the yin to my yang, kind of, especially within business. I'm very, okay, let's do this now. We have to do this. And he's more, all right, let's put this plan together and be a little bit smarter with it.
And is he your partner now in the business? Or?
Yeah. So when he got out of school, as a graduation gift, I gave him 5% equity on a piece of paper. I wrote it down.
Wow. That's so cool.
And then he said he wanted to be a part of it and actually work within the business. So he does more of the bookkeeping, some design work, and then he's a project manager for Whirlpool. So he's very good with that stuff.
So both you guys have full-time jobs, but you're doing this on the side, and he's your partner.
Oh, yeah.
And you admire him. Wow, that's great. I bet he admires you too.
I'd hope so.
What's a fear that you've overcome?
I would say a fear I've overcome is putting out work that other people didn't like. So it was other people's validation for a little bit. But then I realized that doesn't matter. I mean, obviously you need people to like your work to purchase it or work with you. But as long as you like the product and you put it out, someone is going to resonate with it.
That's good. What do you do to stay healthy?
I have a workout routine every day. I wake up in the morning, do a little exercising, and then lunch I work out, do cardio. And yeah, I 5 to 6 times a week. I can't work out. I can't not work out. Like when I just came back from London, I was there for 5 days and I didn't work out for 2 or 3 of the days, and I just felt horrible.
Sounds like you have a great routine with, getting up early, praying, getting,
yeah,
working out. That's a great way to go. So you'll live long and last long and be happy that way. So how can people get in touch with you?
So they can reach me on Instagram is usually the easiest. So at YIFNO or at YIFNO Wucher. Email is nick@yifno.com. Or, I can say my number. It's 954-614-3422.
Excellent. And as I said before, stay tuned for that pop-up that's coming. A YIFNO locality bank co-sponsored pop-up coming your way here soon.
Coming soon. We'll get some good designs out.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me on.
This is great.
Thanks for tuning in to Locality's Making Bank podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to catch the latest episodes, and visit localitybank.com today to learn more about all the benefits of banking local.